Welcome to Release to Results. Let me remember I am one with God. Lesson 124, our Course in Miracles series. We're using the Course in Miracles workbook to bring up stuck emotions and energy that's out of alignment with what we really are, to release it and to let these lessons work upon us. And you might have heard me say before this word resistance. Resistance, wanting to control, is a synonym for resistance. And wanting to control God, wanting to control emotions, wanting to control the appearances in the world. Now, the Course tells us we have tremendous amount of control on what's happening. Our thoughts are in fact causing the effects we see around us in the world, not the other way around. At least that's what's suggested here. And so this resistance to having that connection with God, to being at one with God, is any feelings that come up when with this idea, let me remember I am one with God. So am I dropping right into that feeling of peace and bliss and happiness that comes with being at one with God as I really am? Or is there resistance? Is there anxiety, wanting to be separate from God, wanting control over God? These energies can be subtle. There could be fear of God. There could be wanting things to be different. And so when I say resistance, that's just an opportunity to bring up any energy that's blocking your awareness of your oneness with God. That's any energy, any darkness that would just attempt to obscure this light, which can never be obscured, but it seems like it sometimes. So today we're going to be opening up with just resisting this oneness with God, resisting the truth that our identity is in God. Our home is safe, protection is guaranteed in all we do, power and strength available to us in all our undertakings. We can fail at nothing. Everything we touch takes on a shining light that blesses and heals. At one with God and with the universe, we go our way rejoicing with the thought that God himself goes everywhere with us. So there can be plenty of resistance to this truth, what we really are, what's really available to us. So we'll start by just bringing up some of that resistance to let it go. Now, it's okay to feel anything that comes up for you. Notice sometimes if it seems like I'm not just with these ideas, at least this is how it's been for me, there's like some guilting or making wrong of myself, attacking myself. And so just noticing the thoughts, noticing the resistance rather than fighting the resistance or making it wrong. The darkness cannot overtake the light. Could you just bring that darkness up to the light, allow it to come up, allow it to be taken, allow it to be shined through with the truth? It's just an allowing. So could you allow yourself to resist today's idea that you are one with God, so that all that resistance can just dissolve? Taking it real easy and gentle with yourself. Anything other than this truth is just some program that was picked up in your innocence. And all that's required is a letting go of it, no longer hanging on to it. So we'll bring some of that up for releasing. Then we will allow ourselves to just, when that resistance clears, have that experience of being at one with God. Now, I've done this many times where I've just resisted God. And there's this incredible energy that comes up and builds up as I just really resist the truth and allow myself to run out that energy. And eventually it falls away. And then there's this like incredible experience of what's really there coming through as the resistance falls away. So after we clear some of this resistance, we'll just allow that truth to come through, that light to come through, that identity in God to come through, and just dwell in it for a while and allow that. Now, at that point, there could be more resistance. Please feel free to keep resisting and clearing more of that. Let me remember I am one with God, at one with all my brothers and myself, in everlasting holiness and peace. Let me remember I am one with God. So let's begin. Let me remember I am one with God, at one with everything, all my brothers and myself, in everlasting holiness and peace. And perhaps you fall right into that oneness. And that's great. Though perhaps there's some resistance. And it's not a good thing or a bad thing if there's some resistance to this idea. If there is any resistance, let's run it out. Could you allow any resistance to being one with God? And just allow that to run it out. Nothing to condemn or moralize about with something that we picked up in our innocence, this resistance to what we are at one at God, with God. Could you allow any of that resistance and really resist? Really let it be there without judging or moralizing. You might notice this wanting to push down or push away, this energy of forcing, wanting to control God, wanting to make it different. Could you allow any resistance to being at one with God? Could you just sit with that? It could fall away at any time if you just allow it to run out, allow the darkness to come to light. Could you resist being at one with God if there is any of that resistance there? Just feel that, whatever feeling is there for you, could you open it up? Nothing to hide. Could you simply allow any of this resistance? Is there more resisting? Is there more resistance to being at one with God? Could you let it be there? Let it up. And could you release that resistance? Would you release that resistance? You don't have to. You can hold on to it, let it keep running out. When could you release any or all of this resistance to remembering you are one with God? At one with all your brothers and yourself, in everlasting holiness and peace? Let you remember you are one with God. And how could one forget? Just some resistance, some denial, some refusal. of this truth. So rather than being afraid of it or condemning it, could you simply bring to light any remaining resistance, refusal of this idea that in truth you are one with God? Just noticing anything that comes up, just observing it. It's not even you. Could you allow yourself to resist? This energy, could you just let it come up, let it move, just allowing any resistance to being at one with God? Could you make it bigger? Could you let up more of it? Anything that's stored? Could you bring up any of this darkness? Just let it up. Let it be there. And could you let it go? Would you let it go? When could you let go of resisting the truth? You are one with God and all of your brothers and yourself in everlasting holiness and peace. And as you allow this resistance to the truth to come up and release, you may feel much lighter. You may start to experience consciously the truth of your everlasting peace and holiness and that oneness. And as good as that feels, could it be even better? Is there even more that's blocked of this truth that you are one with God? And so, from this place, wherever you are right now, let you remember you are one with God. And in that remembrance, could you allow up any resistance to the truth that you're recalling? Any remaining denial or darkness? Any remaining refusal or pushing away this truth that you are one with God? Without judging it or moralizing about it, guilting yourself, could you simply let up any resistance to you are one with God? Could you feel that? Is there more? Just allowing any of this darkness to come to light. Do you really resist this idea, what you're remembering in this course, that you are at one with God? Could you let that resistance run out just by letting it be there? And could you surrender, give up this resistance to the recollection of what you are? Would you surrender? Give up this energy that would obscure the truth that you are one with God. When could you surrender any sense of separation, any resistance to being at one in everlasting holiness and peace with God, your brothers, and yourself? And just notice any lightness. When that resistance runs out, what happens? When you enlighten that burden of darkness, what happens? Could you allow what happens when you let go of what you are not and remember you are one with God? Now, there could be more resistance, and that's okay. You are safe to bring any darkness to light in this time. And you are also safe to remember what you are, at one with God. And no miracle could ever be denied you who know you are one with God. Incredible power to relieve the suffering of all. Perfect safety, a shining light that blesses and heals. The voice of God speaking as you see your brothers today, speaking to them at one with God. This incredible bounty of holiness and peace. Could you allow yourself to remember that you are one with God in this moment, just for now? Could you welcome being at one with all your brothers and yourself? Welcome being at one with God. Could you embrace the everlasting holiness and peace? And could you let go of any trying to control this, any holding, and allow what happens for you who are at one with God? Could you allow what happens, what is, as you remember You are one with God. Could you be at home in everlasting holiness at peace, at one with God? And it's suggested to stay with this idea, with this remembrance of the truth of what you are, that you are at one with God, for 30 minutes at some point today. Could you allow yourself to sit as you are, at one with God, and just let go, release anything other than that? Could you remember how secure you are, how much peace there is, and the happiness that comes with being what you are, one with God, all your brothers, and yourself, in everlasting holiness and peace.